An entrance, that's the best place. If these beaver have not been bothered, nobody's tried to trap them or shoot them or anything like that, they're pretty easy to catch. They like to get their den under roots like this. This would be a real place, like that little pocket right in between these two clumps of willows. That would be ideal for them. That'd be a good place to look for their den. Any of those little enclosures like that, and it's always on the steep part of the bank. Back in something like that, you're not going to get no dens out in there. They got to get up above this water line, and right in here is where their nest chamber is going to be. They may have a couple that goes off from there, but that's about where it's going to be. Then they'll be cutting stuff like this, and they'll like piling this up here, making it kind of like a lodge. It's an in-between bank den lodge a lot of times. They'll pile this mud on top of that there. Usually on the sides, they'll have some way that they get up on that lodge. And this is what I do with that. Well, let me go with my equipment here. I use a lot of times, mostly, 99% of the times, I use a 330. I cut the chains off of here, and I'll either use an old snare like this that has an adjustable loop where you can put your stakes on it like that. I did forget to bring my stakes, but you'll get the idea. And the triggers, I also like to have the triggers set like this, where they've got that nice place where they can dive under that. This also keeps any muskrats that wants to come flying through here. That, you know, it's going to keep your traps working here. Yeah.
And do you have it on the top side? Is how you like?
Mine on the top.
You use yours on the top.
You know, they
okay.
Put them up like this.
Yeah.
They don't want to catch out across the back there. I want to kill the beaver.
Okay.
And that's how I run it, like this. If you're going to have otter, if it's during season and you're going to have some otter, chance catching otter there, the 280 is the best to go here. These 330s will do it, but a lot of times you'll catch them otter right across the middle, and they may, you know, they're going to struggle for a while. And I really don't like that. I want to, we're catching otter, catch anything, I want to kill it and kill it quick. So same situation here. Like to have that just where them wires is just going to be touching those rings like that. So let me make a little bit of a slide here. Give me an idea of what we're going to do.
How do you mount those traps out?
We're going to show it. Okay. We'll show you how to do that. All right, this has got a little bit of a little deal here, so we can kind of make us a, this is kind of what these slides are going to be like.
I'm not paying you for excavating.
Is there a reason why you don't circle up your triggers, especially on the 330s, if there's a possibility of otter?
What was the question
Circling
again?
up the triggers?
Circling them up like that?
Yeah, so it narrows them down?
I like to...
Or you just like specifically using the 280s of the possibility of the otter?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Because if you have just your 330s and things like, you can bring that, you know, in a little tighter. Sure, that's fine. Works fine.
So you're creating an otter slide, I mean a slide right now.
I'm really creating it, what it should look like.
What it should look like, yep. Yep. Well, I've seen guys make sense just doing that.
A lot of times if there isn't one and, you know, there's not a real good place, yeah, I'm going to make one.
Okay.
Because they're going to check this out.
Okay.
But this works most of the time for beaver that have not been trapped, that have not been messed with. You start getting into ones that have been molested, that changes the whole thing. Now here's the deal that kind of sets it a little different than what some of you all may do or may allow it to be. I'm not sure what it is in Kansas. We've got an authority here who can tell us that, but half. Missouri just changed it where it's, the rings has got to be under, so it's half too. I talked to my county agent, Tammy,
Okay.
and you know, if I'm doing ADC work, just kill the beaver.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, if you got it like this out of the water, just kill the beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas too. They're pretty lenient when they.
When you have a nuisance situation. Yeah. Again, these methods, the way I do it, probably nothing like what you all do. But my hands are getting so stiff, I got to do it this way.
Them things are scary.
Now another thing that I use, you know, I like to have a safety deal here. I've learned, I've lost, you know, had a lot of tears, lost a lot of flesh and precious body fluid. From that, I'm not doing this.
I like the cork idea too.
And I put the cork on it, yeah. I don't know how many times, you know, been doing this number. This helps a lot.
Tying it around your neck, it snags on everything.
So, try to get this out. Approximately there. If you need to go a little deeper, you can. You can cut your trench under that a little bit, set that down there even deeper. Also, if you don't necessarily have to have this thing here either. You can just set that right. If the trench is deep enough, you can just go ahead and set that right down in there.
Oh, okay.
And I mash them springs down in the mud. And then, if it's available, take some of your beaver chewed sticks that they've taken the bark off of, and you put them right in here, down through your spring arms and the corners of this. Make a little cross up there, and that will hold that rock solid. If you got a holder like this here, this works great. Just like that. That needs to go a little deeper, but gives you kind of the idea. Now, again, pretty solid. It's still got a little bit of a wiggle. Again, I always like to take the springs off, and then I put my stakes, my beaver sticks in here like this, and that catches the corners. That makes that rock solid. Then you can take, a lot of times at home where we got that multiflora rose nearly around everywhere. That makes perfect cribbing. Clip some of them brambles off there, lay it in here like this, or like that. Just a subtle. You don't have to have a brush pile sitting here. Just a little subtle.
Like guiding them?
I have no idea. They're going to come along here. They're going to see, one, if this is an established thing, they're going to hit it anyway. If they see something new like this, they're going to go to it. If you have made this and it's not an established one, this should be a little deeper. So it's not sticking up as much. This should be approximately that much sticking out. About 3 inches sticking out. With them 2 sticks sticking up like this, and maybe another stick or 2 here, that creates your little fence, even with your brambles or weeds. Horse weeds works good. Anything that's not green that they will chew. Set that up like that. And then you might, if you want to, and I've done this, I've taken stuff like this. In fact, I'll show you here. Oh, this will work real good, actually. Take your deal off there. That makes a real good deal there. And that's off. If you want to crisscross that over at the top like this, and that's sitting down, like I say, just with about that much sticking above the water, that's going to be enough to cause that dive. Down it's going to go.
You don't need to go no further from the edge.
Yeah,
of the
if you
trap?
could, yeah, if you had some more of these, bring this over about like this far, That'd work. Sometimes I may put a spot of castor up there. Sometimes I don't. Just depends. I'll get into a little ADC right now.
Yeah.
With a problem beaver, a trapwise beaver, the whole deal is they are very sensitive about disturbance in their area because they've learned well that it's bad. About the only thing I'd go into a situation like this is, one, the client calls me and tells me about it. I ask them how long has it been since they've been messed with, and I give it a good week or 2 weeks, nothing. I may come in here and I may set up a twig or two like this, and I'll leave it for a week. And then I'll come back and I'll put a snare in here.
Okay.
Just getting used to going there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you get him that way.
All right.
As far as foot traps, flat traps like that, I really don't mess with it too much because I can do all I need to do with these conibears or a snare. And you know, the flat traps, you got to stake it and run your grounder out here and blah, blah, blah. Time's money. Staking this, if I'm trapping a colony or a family group, I got some other 330s that are a little bit longer. They have chains and they got swivels here. And I'll stake this off over here in case I catch the parents and the bigger ones. Sometimes you hit them, even though you hit them perfect, right in a sweet spot, they will struggle a little bit and they'll swim off just a little bit right here to die. Well, that's great because these other beaver coming through here, they're not really going to pay attention to this one laying off to the side. So you're not going to be spooking them, you're not going to give them any reason to be wary. And with the swivels there, if you do catch one once in a great while, I've had beaver come in there and I've hit them with the front leg. How in the world the leg got above their head, I do not know. But it brings it over here, and yeah, you'll drown them with that way. It'll hold them there long enough that you'll get them. I've even had some beaver, it was under ice. I said there was a nice channel way, and all I really did was just put the 330 down in there. And I don't know how, and this is an average size, 30-pound beaver, something like it. It went clear through the 330 and I caught him by the tail. If it wasn't for being under the ice, he would never have drowned. Probably got away, but caught him right by the tail. So, yeah, in real life, that needs to be a little deeper.
Now, the distance back from the shore, are you just going back that far because that's where you can get your depth? Or
Well, this is about what I like right here.
okay, that about an arm's length.
About an arm's length.
Yeah.
It could come out here if the situation was like over there, where you
Okay.
had them trees coming up
Yeah.
on the side. You could get out a little bit farther. It doesn't take a whole lot of what I call cribbing to force them into an area like this. This is kind of the one go-to set. If they plug this up here, which a lot of times they do, you can do kind of the same thing. You can, there's an old muskrat den right there.
Is it?
You can pull this away from the, so it'll start draining a little bit, and make it just a funnel here. Just a little bit here, and you don't want a lot of water running through there because it'll drop the pond, drop it too fast, and it'll drop it below your trap. Your trap will be sticking too much out of the water. Just enough pretty good water coming out of through there. Have this out here like a V, and then have your trap setting here, and it don't take, again, just about 2 inches above the water is all you need. They'll dive right under there, fix that.
And that just get them to come in and re-plug it up.
That, yes, they feel that water. They can feel it in their whiskers, that water moving.
Huh.
And they'll come right up there to it, repair that. Dam works the same way. If you got a dam somewhere, don't just tear the whole thing out. Just enough to get that much running down through there. Just enough where you can hear it gurgling. Oh, they'll know it. And they'll be checking it that night. You can hit them with that. Another place I like to use this, if it's a bigger pond like that and you have these willows up in the shallower parts, they're going to have channels running up through there in them willows. Deadly. Set them in them channels. You get that water running, you set them in the channels, you're going to get, and this here, probably the adults. Out there, you're going to get all the juveniles within about 3 or 4 days. You've got the whole thing cleaned out. In the fur deal, you don't want to clean them all out, of course, but in the ADC stuff, they want them all gone, everything.
Yeah.
So
what do you do in a situation where if you have a kind of a longer stream, whatever, small river, going through and you're doing some ADC work for one guy here, you've got a large population up the line, any way to deter them from continually.
That's called repeat business, isn't it? that's money there.
Depends on how deep his pocket is.
Yeah.
You know, I get the same question doing mole work in a residential area. Same thing. You've got to have a little talk with the client. What do you want?
Yep.
I can trap these ones, and they're kind of territorial, you know. You can get those ones that's working his property, and you can spot work it ever so often and catch the ones that are coming there and doing a little damage. But it may be job security.
Yeah.
You know, it's, and they may want to go for a while and say, I've had enough, I can't afford anymore, until the problem gets a little bit bigger, and then so it's a conversation you have to have with the client.
Any questions, guys? Randall, we sure appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hope this all works for you all.
Yeah.